All right, guys, take a look. I got a new gravel bike, and this one is a Motobecane Immortal Pro Disc. So it's a disc model. It's a disc brake equipped gravel bike made by Motobecane, and it's sold directly by bikesdirect.com. Okay, so again, I bought this used. I didn't buy it brand new. This thing brand new when it was on sale, I think it was around $1,700 for the whole setup. This bike, it seems like it's all original. It's all stock. And I got this bike for less than $500, particularly because this bike has got a few issues that needs to be taken care of before it could be ridden again. Okay, so the most obvious thing is when I first got the bike, this little washer for the front wheel literally just popped out. Okay, so if I put it in here, you can see there's a huge gap. So that little washer is screwed up. What I can do is get a replacement washer and try to put it back on the wheelset, and hopefully it would work again. This is the WTB wheelset that comes stock on this bike. And I believe this bike is probably a few years older. I don't think it's the newest model, but it's using the Ultegra 105 11-speed group set. So it's a hydraulic braking mechanical group set from Shimano. The rear derailleur, it looks like it's a Ultegra rear derailleur. Okay, pretty worn out. This would be the easiest thing to replace. The rear derailleur nowadays pretty much costs nothing. Like I got a brand new GRX 810 derailleur for $45 shipped directly from AliExpress. And if you need a GRX 812, which supports larger rear cog and a 1x setup, you can get that for $50. So it literally costs nothing, very easy to replace. The derailleur looks to be fine. Front derailleur looks to be fine. And again, this is just the initial overview before I start doing the restoration. After the restoration, I'm going to come back and we're going to take a look at this bike again and see how well it's going to perform out in the wild, right? So for now, just see what works, what doesn't work. The stock wheel set, I don't have full confidence on the stock wheel set. But the good thing is, I actually have quite a lot of 700C disc wheels just laying around. This one is from the Giant Live that I actually replaced over here not long ago. I have a carbon wheel set on the Giant Live for my wife's bike. So this stock PR2 is available. I'm pretty much just gonna job the PR2 discs, the wheel set directly onto this bike, and it probably works. Right? See, perfect fit. So that issue is solved instantly, right? It looks like it's got SPD clipless pedals, FSE crankset, and internal cable routing for the most part. Yep, there's no external anything. The interesting thing that I want to point out for this Motobecane Immortal Pro Disc is the shape of this main beam. Okay. There are some actually that looks pretty scratched up from some sort of cable routing. Yeah, so that was hidden. I didn't see that, but just have to be careful when you buy a bike. Make sure you flip it over and take a closer look. And stock cassette, I believe, is 105. Let's see, it looks like 105 cassette. 105 hydraulic disc brakes, and kind of low-end 160mm Shimano discs. They work fine, okay? They work fine. It's just lower end and cheaper, but they do work. And the shifters are actually 105, so 7000 series. And well, it's still got the original sticker on here. So yeah, this bike is pretty much all stock, made in Taiwan, the frame. So I have full confidence that this is going to be a very, very good frame to start with. So if you spend a little time and if you go a little higher end on the components, you should have a very, very capable gravel bike to start with. And this bike, again, it's $500. It literally costs nothing. Even if you get a good carbon wheel set, add another $600-700, it's still less than $1,500 for a full hydraulic disc brake gravel bike. That's proper, right? So again, if you want to have fun, most definitely check out bikesdirect.com, but be prepared to replace some cheaper components like the wheel set that they use, okay? That definitely feels cheap. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start restoring. And so the next section of the video, hopefully I finish with everything. I can come back, tell you guys what I think about the easiness of restoring this bike, as well as whether it's worth it for you to buy this bike used and then maybe do some restoration and start using it right away. All right, so I'll see you in the next section.
All right, guys, so I just finished restoring this Motobecane Immortal Pro Disc and doing a test ride around my neighborhood. Immediately, I want to say that based on my previous experience riding the Motobecane Le Champion carbon fiber rim brake version, I'm still pretty impressed by the performance of this Immortal Pro. Okay, so, and I did a little research and I found out the difference between the Immortal Pro and the Le Champion is that Immortal Pro is actually based on a road/racing geometry, where the Le Champion is more or less a endurance comfortable geometry setup. Okay, so so this one, the Immortal Pro Disc, with this gravel tire put on here, okay, works more or less, you know, like a gravel bike. And I don't want to say it's uncomfortable. It's actually very comfortable with this thick tires. Okay, I believe this is a 32 to 34, judging by the size of the tires. Yeah, let's just do a little ride and I'll talk about this bike while we are riding. I'm recording on the DJI Osmo Action 4, and I'm using a wireless mic too put under my shirt, so hopefully the recording sound quality is good. Yeah, but right off the bat, this bike accelerates fast, okay? Even for a gravel bike. Like my last bike that I tested, or I've owned for a short brief time, is the Giant TCX, which was a cyclocross, pure cyclocross racing bike. Even for that bike, I think this one easily beats it. It accelerates very fast and it just feels like I'm connected to the road. In terms of the wheel, okay, the wheel set I think is the biggest disadvantage if you buy this bike brand new, because it comes with a very low end, I think it was a WTB TCS 2.0 rim hooked up to some really cheap Chinese hubs. And when I bought this bike, again, I bought it used for a very good price because it's not working properly. The front cup is like totally destroyed, so that's not a good hub or good wheel set to start with. I upgraded the wheel set with a stock Giant PR2 that I took off my wife's Giant Live when I upgraded her bike to a full hydraulic, to a full carbon wheel set. So this bike had the Made in Taiwan Giant PR2 disc wheel set on it, and now I feel like it is actually a perfect combination, because the PR2 is durable. It's not the lightest. I think it was around 1800 grams. So it's very durable. And This bike, again, it's too big for me. It's size 55. I usually ride a 52, so I have to put the seats all the way down at the bottom. And I'll show you guys later when we finish the ride. So even, I mean, if I put it down at the bottom, this is more my size. So if you're 5'7" and you're looking for a bike that's 55 centimeters, yeah, you can kind of make it work. You just have to shorten the stem a little bit. Probably it comes with a very wide handlebar. You want to use a smaller handlebar, okay? And I'm encountering a little bit of the shifting issue from the smallest crank. So this comes with a 50-34 crank, okay, in the front, which I think is fantastic for Miami riding. Oh my God! And this shifts really good. The rear derailleur is scratched up, but it shifts precise, silent, and fast. So like if I want to go fast on this bike, it's actually very easy to do. Like I'm getting to the job and just go a little faster. Right now, average speed around 16, 17. I'm not using a lot of efforts. So yeah, it's comfortable. And I think this is a great gravel setup for people who live in the flat area, because I still think a 2x setup is proper, okay? If you ride flat gravel, a 2x is definitely proper. If you ride a lot of loose rocks and mountainous areas, maybe a 1x. But this 2x, 50/34, and a 11/34 rear cock is perfect. So yeah, so far, how many minutes in? Probably like 5-10 minutes in. I'm very impressed, and it actually puts a smile on my face when I ride. So usually how I judge a bike is when I get on the bike, and it's that feel that when you first start pedal, it's like the first impression when you meet someone. This one, when I get on the bike and start pedaling, it puts a smile, so I know it's a well-designed bike, especially for its price, okay? This thing sells brand new for, when it came out, I think 2018, for I think $1,800. It's like a no-brainer. This is like a full Ultegra 105 hydraulic brake, hydraulic disc brake, and yeah, and a very lightweight carbon fiber frame that's rigid, but does offer some damping because I'm using a very hard, like not a harsh, but I'm using the stock Ritchie Comp saddle that came on the bike, and my butt has not hurt yet. It's a very narrow saddle, but it does provide a lot of flex. Again, I'll show you guys later at the end of the ride. So far, I'm impressed. Are there areas that needs, or that I think is you're paying for, what you're getting what you paid for? Yes, even though this bike is mostly made in Taiwan for all the components, there's no cheap Chinese components on this bike. Some areas on the frame, I kind of feel like that they cheaped out a little bit, used some lower end components, okay? So again, yes, there are areas that I think it could use a little improvement. But yeah, end of the video, I'm gonna give you guys a overall impression of how I think about this bike. But very nice bike. So enjoy the ride, and I'll talk with you guys at the end of the video.
right, so I always like to do my impression, final conclusion videos here at my local elementary school. And so overall impression of the Motobecane Immortal Pro Disc is exceedingly positive, and the carbon frame is very well designed. So the components are also well selected. So it's a Ultegra /105 components, and I think for general riding, it's more than enough that you need, even for gravel riding. But the handling is very agile. It's more race bike handling as opposed to a gravel bike handling where you're gonna feel more stable. This one just feels like it's turning very quickly. So I'm thinking it's probably because they used a shorter chainstay and a more aggressive front rake angle, whatever. But it just feels like it's handling my turns very efficiently, and also when I'm cornering, it gives me good confidence while I'm cornering. I don't have the fear of the bike is gonna flip over. So I think in terms of frame geometry, the Motobecane Immortal Pro Disc actually 100% satisfied my needs. But your needs could be different, but that's my impression on this bike. Okay, so good component selection and very well designed frame geometry, no complaints. It does feel more road bike as opposed to a gravel bike, which is gonna probably be more stable if you're going to kind of rocky areas, and you need all the front angle that you need. This one just have a standard road bike drop bar. It doesn't flare out, so you can upgrade it if you want, but again, as a starting point for this price, you're getting a really good value. Okay, I'm not paid by bikesdirect to say that their bike is well designed and good value. I've owned two bikes. This is the second one that I've owned from bikesdirect, and so far my impression has been very positive. Now, this bike, there are areas that I think they cheaped out that could have been done better. Absolutely. So first thing first is somehow this Shimano or the rear brake mount just makes a lot of noise, and it's kind of very hard to adjust compared to some other bikes that I've owned with hydraulic disc brakes. It doesn't matter how I adjust it, the rear brake, it's always gonna rattle a little bit. It's always have a little like touching noise, and when I'm braking, I don't know if you can hear it in the previous riding video, that it makes a very loud squinching sound. Sometimes if I don't brake hard, like I just edge the brake pad a little bit to the disc, it starts to vibrate and make noise, make a loud noise. And second area that I think they could improve or could have done for little cost is instead of giving you a Ultegra or a 1000 derailleur, they could have given you at least the RX 800 or the GRX 810. Those derailleurs is going to have very similar performance as Ultegra. However, the major advantage for the RX 800 Ultegra and the GRX 810 or the GRX series in general is they have a lockout for the rear derailleur. So if you ride in more bumpy areas, you could turn on the lockout and this thing will not drop the chain like this. Okay, so your chain is not gonna flap. The Ultegra, while it's very smooth shifting, if you ride a lot of rough areas, you definitely want to upgrade that. The good news is the GRX 810 shifter, the rear derailleur is super cheap. Like I literally bought one for my wife's bike for $45 shipped. That was, I bought it on AliExpress and it arrived to me in less than a week, which is, crazy good price. If you look online, if you buy it in USA for the GRX 810, I think it will cost you at least $90. So you save half the price there. Front derailleur, I have no complaint. The front derailleur works very smoothly, very quiet, very precise. Another area that the bikesdirect or Motobecane cheaped out on is they didn't give you a micro adjuster for the mechanical shifters. So you can see there's no micro adjuster to adjust the tension for both the front and the back. which sucks because the front derailleur most definitely could use a micro adjustment to bring it in line to stop from making noise. So that's one area they cheaped out. Again, it could easily be remedied with a $5 micro adjuster, 2 sets, maybe $10 right there. Okay, so another area that they cheaped out. And the last area that I think they cheaped out is the grommets that they use or install here. Now, if you look in this area, they literally just stuck this in here without any kind of grommets. So it's gonna rub and it's gonna make a lot of noise, right? Just inside this giant big tube over here. This one, they did give you a grommet over there, so it doesn't make any noise. And on the back, where the brake comes out, this grommet looks very cheap as well. It's plastic, okay? So ideally it would be a rubber, so again, stops rubbing and reduces noise, but they used a lot of plastic grommet. So yeah, that's one area they cheaped out, and I think could again be remedied with just a few dollars extra on their part, okay, before the bike ships to you and you have to assemble it. Now, I bought this bike used in not working condition, and it took me pretty much minimum efforts to bring this into a fantastic fully working bike that's tuned up and ready to ride. The very last thing I want to say that they always cheap out on is gonna be the wheel set. This is not the stock wheel set that the bike came on. During the ride, I mentioned that the stock wheel set is like a cheap Chinese hub laced on a WTB TCS whatever. It's a tubeless wheel set that they advertise and claim to be $500 worth of wheel set, but I think that wheel set is probably at most $150 to $200. The hubs are cheaply designed. The cups actually literally just fall off when I got the bike. I took the bike, I disassembled the front and rear wheel for transport in my sedan, and literally the cup just fall off. And it was very badly, it's not chewed. And this bike, judging by the tire, probably had the minimum amount of riding, okay? The wheel is already failed. So I think if you buy any kind of bike and you want the best price performance, you should definitely invest in a kind of just a better designed carbon wheel set for your gravel or road bike. And nowadays, the Chinese made carbon wheels are actually fantastic value and very good quality. Okay, so you can get a very lightweight Chinese carbon wheel set that's probably gonna be at least 500 grams lighter than this giant PR2 for around $500 on sale. Okay, and that's incredible value, and it's gonna transform your riding experience when it definitely gonna transform your riding experience. Now with this giant PR2, I already feel like it's a significant upgrade for this bike. Imagine if you have a Chinese not Chinese, but imagine if you have a proper full carbon wheel. Rolling is going to be much easier. You're going to feel a lot more connected. The bike is going to be more rigid vertically and or laterally, shall I say. And yeah, the carbon wheel set would be the first thing I want to upgrade on this bike, outside of all the other small complaints that I have. It will definitely transform your ride, regardless of what kind of bike you get. Like if you get an entry-level bike, buy a set of carbon wheels, because as you upgrade, the carbon wheels could be used for the new bike. If you even get an aluminum bike, you get a carbon fiber bike later on, and you can just directly pull those carbon fiber wheels from your old bike to the new bike. Granted, if it's got a disc mount, it should be compatible with all the road endurance bikes nowadays. 12mm through axle, okay, that's like new standards as such. So all in all, yes, very impressed. Again, my second bikesdirect Motobecane bicycle that I test rode and restored, made in Taiwan, very, very good quality frame. If they don't cheap out on some of the really cheap components, really like small details. If they paid attention to those small details, this bike can easily be comparable to any other major brand bikes that cost $3,000 to $4,000, and that's my honest opinion. Okay, so there you have it. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I certainly did enjoy riding this bike because I was trying to go online and look for reviews of this particular Motobecane Immortal Pro Disc model. A lot of those came out as some guy just unboxing the bike when they first got it. But I'm glad I was able to ride it and give you guys the impression of this bike. It actually handles amazingly, okay? One last thing I want to touch on the bikesdirect road / endurance / gravel bike models is they kind of use those model numbers interchangeably. So this one is Immortal Pro Disc, and if you look at the geometry, this is being used on their newest version of the Di2 shifting gravel bike setup. So anything that you see out of bikesdirect 2020 and on is using this Immortal Pro Disc version of the frame. But if you look at the other Immortal Pro Disc from prior to 2010, you'll see it's more of a flat, compact geometry design. So again, they use those terms interchangeably, and based on my research, they have those two major frames that they use. Either they call it Immortal Pro Disc or they call it Le Champion CF. Those two frames are different, but should offer very similar performance. The Le Champion, or the more flat one, supposedly compact geometry, and it's got more road compliance features built in. This one is just a full-on race bike. When I ride it, I can feel it. I can feel the handling is agile. If you have a thicker tires, I don't think it's an uncomfortable frame to ride. It's actually very comfortable. Anytime I run over cobbles, stones, and just dirt, mud, I don't feel a thing. The bumps are very well absorbed on this frame, So yeah, if you guys want some gravel fun, I think this bike in stock setup is able to do it, okay? Just want to show you guys that it is capable, okay? So again, the frame itself is going to have a very small impact compared to the tires that you're going to be picking and using. Speaking of tires, yes, it's able to take a very thick tire. This one, I believe, is either 32 or 34. I think it can go 38, maybe 40. 40 might be stretching it a little bit, but should be plenty enough for most gravel riding situations. So there you have it. Questions, comments, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below. This video is a little bit long, but I think hopefully if you're looking for this particular bike model, it's going to give you a good impression on how well this bike performs. Subscribe to my channel. I will have more bike reviews and tech tips coming out as I further looking for bikes to restore and a review on. So thanks again, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.